I've got a pretty fat head, haven't I?
HoonTV!
I've got to admit, it's been bloody hard to do some updates lately because I've got so much on the go and everything's going everywhere, but the last few weeks have been pretty intense and I've managed to get Frank the Tank back on the road, which is awesome. Massive thanks to Raceworks, because what I did, and I'm going to throw all the overlay over the top here, is I pretty much ripped out the fuel sender and rebuilt that. I put new Raceworks 90-degree bulkheads in there to get rid of the old thing. So I drilled out, modified, did all that, and then basically ran new lines from the front to the back because I just wasn't convinced that everything was working right and there was something just not good in there. But then again, the car's 30 plus years old now, so aside from all the running gear, the brakes, the diff, everything, all that being brand new, the one thing that was still original was the fuel lines. So I've replaced them. I also managed to replace the factory fuel rails on the LS, which factory being VF Series 1 L77. I've put Raceworks rails on that as well, so that's really good. Put one of their regs on the car and it's got a Raceworks pump, and the thing runs like a charm now. So I set the fuel pressure to 60 PSI, which is pretty much normal. I've run like a circulating system now instead of a deadhead system, but there's some future plans coming up for that, and I've said it about 1 million times, but thinking about a supercharger, but just working out how to do that, and also just prioritizing the drag car too. So lots going on. Also making plans for the other FG. I think I mentioned it before, but board and engine, wasn't totally happy with it. A little bit OCD, so I've got a few things in the pipeline for that, but I'm going to spin around, show you a quick look around the car where I'm at the moment. There's stuff all over the back of it, but we'll have a look, and then we'll have a look at what's on the bench and why. All right, so firstly, that's an empty bag of coffee because, well, let's actually address the elephant in the room there, because this bag of coffee is here and it's empty because
Who's coffee?
High octane coffee for high octane people.
that coffee went into the turbo coffee grinder. The turbo coffee grinder is to promote Hoon Coffee, and I had this crazy stupid idea that I was going to turn a turbocharger into a coffee grinder. It's all come together. I had it all ready for the Motorsport Festival on the weekend. It doesn't quite grind coffee the way I want it to, but I have some more plans in the pipework. That will happen and it should be ready for MotorX. On the back of the car here, I've just got towels and stuff going on. There's my little weirdo bracket which I made to stop the parachute cable from flying all over the place when it releases. I've just had my good friend Dale from Adelaide Ceramic Coatings do the inlet manifold and the intercooler plumbing and the thermostat housing top and bottom. Very nice, and yeah, very nice finish. This is his thermal dispersant black, which I love. And then he also did this one because he and Travis from Hammond Engineering thought it would be hilarious to send me a pink one and make me think that there was actually a pink one there for the car, but no, he actually did a pink one and a black one. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this one, but this one will just look good on the shelf or something. Or if somebody needs a pink one for their car, then hit me up. Other cool thing that people might not realize is I've still got a Gregory's from this car from when it was brand new. I also have the original books for this ute because I did have this ute as a mint daily driver a while ago being a long time ago. The other thing I've done too is I've got these big ass Davies Craig high output fans. Some people will be like, oh, there's no shroud on there, but I didn't want to run a shroud because didn't need one. I've welded a little bar across the bottom here. On the top, they're just nut-certed. The main thing I wanted to make sure of though is that they actually don't rub on the radiator, because if things move, they want to rub through a radiator core, so there's a little bit of a gap there, and I've also used foam just to set that gap. Kind of important, but it seems very insignificant. On the top here, I needed a spacer for here, so just to get it done, I put some nuts in. I found this company called Maker Store, and I think it was like $1 or something like that. And basically there's 10 6mm spacers there, and they're aluminium, and perfect what I need. So I just got to take those bolts out, put them back in. So in the front here, still lots happening. I've got all of my oil lines all pretty much done. There's one breather line that's got to come up over the top here, which needs a fitting on it. Yes, that is a belt for a mechanical fuel pump, which I'm just starting to work on here. Just working on so many little things at the moment, but as each job gets ticked off the list, that will happen. The other thing I'm doing, because the Haltech has so many inputs, it's not crazy. I've actually got one of these Raceworks sensor blocks, and that's actually a pressure sensor there. So normally this Schroeder valve goes into the accumulator to pump up the accumulator. What I'm going to be doing is running a little 90 degree out of that and a hose, which will go down into this so that you can basically pump up the accumulator there, but then the HoonTV knows what the pressure is in the accumulator on the air side. Yeah, just a bit of specky stuff, and that's gonna fit just nicely down in there. Just need to get in there and put some nutserts into the car. Other than that, big thanks to Travis at Hammond Engineering. Him and his mate made these cool little Johnny Tig Industries stainless plates. Gonna be dropping one of these on here to say big thanks to Johnny, because he is an absolute legend. Love that guy. I've got a second one, so I might even put one here. Something like that. Give it a bit of a shine up. Just need to put a bit of a roll on it or something like that, and then put some stainless rivets in. What do you reckon? Straight or maybe straight? I don't know, I'll work it out. Other than that, lots happening in the engine bay. Radiator's almost ready to go in, but I'm just got maybe something happening with the water pump, which is exciting because, yeah, I'll get to that when I get to it. But been chatting to my good friends at Davies Craig, and actually the awesome thing is that I saw on the weekend at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival is that is an EWP 150, which is the exact same water pump that they're using on the Roden Cars Centura supercar from New Zealand, which is very cool. Inside the car, bits and pieces happening. One thing I'm very excited about, not that there's anything wrong with this is the IC7 that is getting ripped out, and I'm putting a UC10 in there. This IC7 will go into my FG, which is very cool. So everything's happening in there. Just got to finalize making my lines for the fire system. Pretty much sorted there. Don't mind this sitting in this box of convoluted tubing. It's just the way I got it to stand up, but that is my catch tank. It's got like an out pipe on it now, 2 inlets. So yeah, nice big breathing thing. I can't really open the back to show you, but yeah, there's too much stuff on there, but that's all happening in there. And then heading over to the back, if anyone needs any CBR 900 parts, there's a bin of stuff there. I have the start of my fuel system here. New bracket on the way, because bit of confusion there. That's the one for the car without aircon, but mine, even though it doesn't have aircon, I'm using the aircon bracket bolts. In there I have the Waterman pump. That's a 13.5 gallon pump there for the methanol, which is pretty cool. And that will clamp onto there, and then that goes onto the bracket somehow. I'm not sure yet. Over here I have another one, this sensor box. This one's for under the manifold, so I'll run hoses off the manifold, not sensors directly in the manifold. And actually, while I'm at it, all this HoonTV stuff here. In here, this one here, I've got 2 of these, which are with the TCA8, which is the thermocoupler block for, I think it's a CAN hub block. I'm really not that nerdy enough to know all of the things, but I've got 2 of these ones already in the manifold, because what we're doing is we're running a extra EGT in the pipe out of the turbo, and then also one in the inlet manifold, which is not very cool because it's going to be hot. But that is basically, instead of running a T-map sensor, we've actually put a 1/8 MPT fitting in there, and that's screwed in there now, ready to go. So that little extra EGT is going to hang up in there and cop all of the inlet temperatures. Over here, some nice turbo smart stuff from my mate Mez at Barra the World and Mitch at Mackie-Lek. Flywheel bolts, proper ARP ones here. We've got 2 sets of them actually. There's one on the other bench, and then Mitch's flywheel locking plates. What it is basically you bolt the flywheel on through that, and then the outer plate with those little serrated edges in it slides over the top of the bolts, and then basically it goes over there, and then you just knock the tabs over. Because there's been so many people that weld bolts and do all sorts of crazy stuff to stop them falling out, but I mean, this is a 2-way street basically. You can get it in and out and there's no problems. Over here, these are the titanium bolts. These are replacements for the big ass ones that go in the front of the top of the timing cover, and then some titanium bolts for the rocker cover. So nice black ones. Very happy to have them because the original ones look like crap. In here, Turbo Smart have sent me my order, which is really going to struggle opening these. So I'm going to come back to this in a minute because I need to open those boxes. With the HoonTV, I've got, this is the Turbo 400. It's only a bracket. There's actually a linear sensor. This is the gear indicator selector one. So that's for the Turbo 400. So the HoonTV knows what gear it's in. That's the one that goes onto the front yoke of the diff for the, I think they're a cherry sensor or whatever. So there's a bracket for that. So that's your speed sensor for the car. In here, super excited about this. That's a laser ride height sensor. So that'll be on the front of the car. I'll put some rear height sensors on the back of the car as well. Awesome, very cool high-tech bit of gear. A HoonTV 5-bar motorsport map sensor. And so you say 5 bar, but it's like, I think it goes backwards 1 bar and then forwards 4. So about 60 PSI that's good for, I believe so. And then in these 2 boxes here, very exciting. It must be exciting for anyone opening a HoonTV box, to be honest. The UC10 dash, and that is a big ass dash, I love it. It's so awesome, like that's a proper bit of gear. Pretty stoked about being able to fit that into the car and then working out how to mount it up. Props to HoonTV for making that. And the best thing on top of this just being really cool is the fact that it does have this reverse camera integration, which we're going to be putting in the car. And then in box number 2, Barra plug-in ECU for the FG. Hopefully not going to sit around for too long. The drag car is a priority, but this will be for that. And the big thing with the FG is the fact that it's getting hard to get gas now. So yeah, it's going to have to get converted to EFI. I've just noticed that my battery in my camera's on 1%, so I better stop recording and I'll come back. Back in business. All right, where was I at? Okay, so I've got the Barra ECU, which is coming later, but it's good because I'm slowly stockpiling parts and getting stuff together for that. You don't really need to see me shutting a box, but anyway. The other FG, I have a ceramic coated sump already with a dash fitting on it. I have all of my valve springs. I've got my oil pump gears and backing plate. I've got all of my coils and everything like that. I went through and cleaned everything because it was all looking pretty shabby. Lots of bits in there. The whole valve train's out of the engine because I pulled all that out because I wanted to sort of get a head start on that. Yeah, bits and pieces. The only thing I am missing is the timing chain because a mate of mine was struggling because he couldn't get one the other weekend, so I gave it to him and said, just need to replace it. So that's on its way. All right, let's see if we can do some, slide that out of the way and do some unboxing videos. One Turbo Smart OPR, which is the oil pressure regulator for the turbo. It is an internally regulating oil pressure regulator for the turbo, which is super smart and super cool. I just need to work out where to mount that, and it's going to probably go on the front of the engine. Next box here, which is a brand new Raceport blow-off valve. Very nice. I already have a blow-off valve from Turbo Smart, but mine's goes back to the dark ages, so decided to update it because I wanted everything to look new and pretty. And there's a big box here. That's a Turbo Smart fuel pressure regulator, but for a mechanical pump. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to plumb this thing up yet, so I'll have to go back and read the instructions, but Turbo Smart are amazing like that with all the info there. But yeah, definitely an interesting looking thing. I'm just gonna have a quick look and see where that's gonna fit in the engine bay, because it doesn't take up a lot of room, just vertically. You never know, it might even fit right where the old one went. Somewhere in here, sure, or even up the back here. I did originally consider mounting it off the front there, but that's now where the Peterson oil pressure regulator is. So that's oil pressure relief valve actually, but yeah, I'm sure we'll find somewhere to fit it. Maybe down a bit further here, something like that. Just got to make sure it doesn't conflict with the inlet manifold and intercooler plumbing. So, and then also because my fuel lines are going down to the fuel pump there and back and all sorts of, anyway. Is this like the most ADHD video you've ever seen? I don't know. Somebody told me I've got it, but I don't know. I think everyone's got it, to be honest. Especially when we've all got 75 projects on the go. Like a motorbike that needs the carbies done for the second time. I'll get to that in a minute. Just come off there and you can see that has tiny little holes in it. The flow in that there, and like you've seen, I've done a bit of work with Ryko. I've been to there. And then in the last box here, which I think is freaking awesome, even though my car's got one of the old school Turbo Smart oil caps on it. Yes, that's just a oil cap and one of the very nice sexy black billet ones. But the awesome thing about this one is in the side there, it's got a little locking sort of grub screw, and if you whip that out, that goes back in. So there's now an oil cap with a dash fitting on it straight in the top there, which means my top to bottom breather can go straight in the oil cap, which I think is damn cool. So I'm very excited about that, and I think that's a really cool idea by Turbo Smart to do that. All sorts of stuff here, which is all going to have to go in for that car there. So lots to do before Motor X, but I'm kind of excited because next month for me is a little bit quieter, and it means I can really shut the door, turn on the fans, crank up the tunes and get stuck into it. And apologies that I haven't been doing a lot of hands-on, here's what I'm doing at the moment type stuff, but I don't know, it sort of felt like I needed to just sort of close my doors and get stuck into things and not film everything I was doing. I don't know if other people feel the same, but sometimes you just need to have a bit of me time. And you know, I appreciate everyone following and seeing the updates. And to be honest, I've been sort of thinking about maybe just with being so busy doing monthly updates or something like that until the car's actually done. But the FG, I think I'll get into that, sort of show that bit by bit, because there's going to be engine, transmission, all that sort of thing. This car here, I'm going to be going up to MV Automatics in a couple of weeks to put the transmission in on the hoist, but we're going to get it in there and then do all the final tail shaft measurements and that sort of thing, so it's all properly done. With the trans in it, we might be able to, because it's not going to be missing a lot of weight, maybe just the radiator and the inlet manifold and plumbing, but maybe be able to corner weight it again and see how we're looking now with the engine sitting further back compared to what it was before. I mean, it will have an empty fuel tank and so forth, but it'll be interesting to see. My last thing I'm going to talk about, and if this just diabolical mess of a race bike that I really want to be riding, is I had this at Jim's dyno and it was all together without the front fairing on, but had my FCR 39s on it. It ran some numbers. It all seemed okay. I had some issues with the accelerator pumps, so I sort of just decided to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to pull them apart and have a look at them, but they're all... The thing I did when I put them on the bike was normally you got to modify the throttle cables and so forth, but instead I did it so that I could revert back to the standard carbies, and I'm very glad I did, because I put the standard carbies back on, which have been amazing for years, and then all of a sudden I think all the needle and seats just flooded and started to fill the engine with petrol, which was friggin' amazing. And I quickly ripped off the carbies, ripped out all the plugs. As you can see, the coils are off, and cranked it over so that I could just shoot fuel everywhere. It was mostly in cylinder number 2, I think, but yeah, it was a bit of a bummer. So considering this bike was out running last year at the Motorsport Festival. The best thing is though, is that when it was on the dyno, the brand new gearbox got put through its paces, and we also run it up, so it's got all new bearings in it, and ran it up, changed the oil, changed the filter, so that's all done. So hopefully I have here a carby rebuild kit, because I'm just going to stick with the standard carbies for the meantime, just because I just actually want to ride the thing and enjoy it. And then later on, the goal is eventually to do this other engine just once that project's done and the other ute's done and the LANDCRUISER's modified and everything else is done. So just trying to find some hours in the day and the funds to make things happen. Finally, there's the Hoon coffee. If you are a coffee drinker and a coffee lover, and the best thing is that you can get it in whole beans, grinds, whatever you like. There are pods coming. I've mentioned that before, but they're still coming. I have had nothing but good feedback about this. If you've seen the video where I hang out with Basil from Patio Coffee, where they do the roasting, they mean business, they make really nice coffee. So even down to the fact that on the weekend that at the Motorsport Festival, I met up with the one Mr. Gunther Steiner. Super cool guy, like, you know, mega famous, all that sort of thing. But to me, all these car people are just car people. We're all in it for the same reason, you know, car tattoo. And yeah, got chatting to him, was sitting there, he'd had a coffee, and I asked him what he thought of it, and he's like, oh, I absolutely loved it. And went and told him it was my coffee, and yeah, he decided he wanted some, so I was pretty excited about that. So hope you're having a good morning tomorrow, Gunther, and I hope you've got a good coffee. So anyway, enough from me. If you want some coffee, quickly jump on there, HoonTV, discount code, and yeah, see you in the next video much sooner, I hope.